you want to start at the beginning? Right?
Sure.
Voi lo sapete, oh mamma.
So two M's and mamma, right? Because mama and mamma are two different things, two different words.
Okay.
So if you don't do that, it just not going to the meaning's not
Okay,
going to be there.
great,
So,
great.
sorry. Two measures before? Three measures. I mean.
Voi lo sapete, oh mamma, prima andar soldato, tu aveva l'ola eterna figurata.
Yeah, so go watch for the triplet. Eterna fe. And giurata was a little bit sharp. Also, on prima the a vowel went kind of backwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Prima d'andar soldato.
Okay.
So keep it in the same place as the beginning of the word.
Okay.
Okay. Do you mind doing it one more time?
No, we can do
So
that.
to measure before.
Voi lo sapete, oh mamma, prima andar soldato, tu aveva l'ola eterna figurata, aveva l'ola eterna figurata. Tornò, lo seppe sposa, e con lui amore, volle spegner la fiamma che ne bruciava il cuore.
Good. So watch for nuovo amore.
Mhm.
Watch for the a vowel on amore. It you change a little bit, and I think it's too low to start modifying.
Okay.
the vowel.
Okay.
Volle has two L's, right? When you get softer, don't get too soft because
Okay.
you still have to keep in mind the orchestration.
Mhm.
So yes, there should be a gradation and changes, but not to a point that
Okay.
you kind of drop out. Not that you're doing that, but it just like, and there has to be some urgency on torno, la seppe, and seppe has two P's. La seppe sposa, and can I have a real O on
Yeah,
sposa?
sure.
So, she's telling the story.
Mhm.
We are getting information now what actually happened. We don't up to this point we don't know what's happening in the
Right.
opera.
So
But she's explaining everything.
right. So that's the change, like a dramatic change
Yes.
there. Mhm.
So when he returned, Lola was already married,
Mhm.
although she promised him to be his.
Mhm.
So torno.
Tornò.
So I feel like it's a little bit too soft.
Okay.
Torno on that one. Yeah, softer, fine, but not.
Tornò, lo seppe sposa, e con nuove amore.
So it sounds like you're singing Nove Amore.
I might have done, yeah. Okay.
So-
Nuovo amore.
Amore, yeah, so don't put an A there. Torno.
Tornò,
Watch for the R. Torno.
Torno.
Yeah.
tornò, lo seppe sposa, e con nuovo amore, volle spegner la fiamma che ne bruciava il cuore.
also there is a crescendo on la mai. Now, sometimes some of the singers don't take a breath
Okay.
before ah. Um, I know that you took a breath, but I think that the break was too much between the
Okay.
la mai and ah.
We can try it without a breath. if
Try
it-
to see how that
Yeah.
works if you're comfortable, and you can stretch that. There's a fermata con gran passione. You can stretch a little bit more so it's not give it more time.
Yeah, I have a question. So the tempo section where she goes into Mamo, it's immediately there's a change 2 bars later. I'm wondering how slow should I take it? Should I start the
So you should start this section in the tempo of the aria.
Okay.
So how we started the aria. So that's the same tempo, and then accelerando begins on next la mai. So
Okay, so as soon as that. Okay.
Yeah. As the character gets more excited, that's where he writes in accelerando music. So that's
Okay.
the
Okay, so we actually moving towards that A
Yes,
from
correct.
the tempo. Okay.
Correct.
Got it.
And then there's a ritenuto on that A.
Right.
That
Yeah.
slows down, right? All right. Should we go from first to Mamo?
Sure.
I like that much better.
Okay.
It's more exciting.
Yes,
And I think your A is much better.
yes.
Has more ring to it and has overall more excitement.
Yeah, it's more dramatic. I feel.
Yes,
It
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on. Quel invida. So
Good
there is a dotted quarter note,
Mhm.
right? So I know that invida is the word, but it's set strangely.
Yeah.
But I think you can prolong that note
Okay.
as written.
Okay.
And watch for quel invida, the 2 L's, and don't feel rushed on that quel invida. So it's not too short, that you're still singing to that note, right?
Okay. And then it's Quellin Vida, and then is Doni kind of the climax of that the shorter phrase? Because then he writes a.
Yes,
Deeper
so
short.
you're going to quel invida d'ogni delizia mia, right? So yes, and not a huge climax, but yes, that's the high point of that phrase. I mean, he says pianissimo, but it's like it's kind of
Yeah.
a little bit too much.
Yeah.
With the orchestration that he provides. All right, here we go. Delizia.
Delizia.
So delizia, you said
Yeah.
delizia. Delizia. Okay, one more time. So I always d'ogni delizia. So you're closing the vowel too soon on delizia.
Okay.
D'ogni delizia mia, right?
So give the E a little bit more.
You're almost doubling
Yeah.
the consonant.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't rush. Del suo sposo dimentica, right? Watch for the rhythm. Del suo sposo dimentica. Don't let the music, the energy of the music mess up the rhythm.
Okay.
Right? You still have
Keep it stable.
Yeah, keep it stable. We don't want to compromise your apparatus, your vocal apparatus. That needs to stay calm, regardless of what the music does.
In these short phrases, I
Yep.
mean, she's kind of describing obviously like what happened, but also her feelings are involved there.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what kind of tone color would be appropriate. I mean, the orchestra is not quiet here.
No, it's not. So I think what's happening here is that she's so excited that she was almost running out of breath. So
Mhm.
hence the short phrases, and she's so upset that she can't really put out the words fast enough.
Okay.
The way her thoughts are working, right? So that's the reason. Oh, one more thing. Oh, another thing that I.
Mhm.
Oh, so if you can modify the color for
Okay.
each one. So what del suo sposo dimentica. Arse di gelosia. So gelosia is a pretty strong word, right?
Mhm.
Jealousy. Arse di gelosia, and you're repeating it.
Mhm.
So I think as this section uh, goes on and on, you're getting more and more involved in your own kind of emotional state.
Right. Right.
And you're like, I don't know what to do anymore. And the thing is that this is the first time that you're directly talking to Mama Lucia, and your relationship is a little bit strained because she doesn't understand what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on.
Mhm.
She's kind of annoyed with you that you
Mhm.
keep coming and asking for turiddu.
Yeah.
And I told you 100 times he went for wine, and
He's not
he's
here.
coming
Yeah.
back, and this is where you tell her the truth.
Right.
What's actually, and then she realizes,
Right.
oh my God, this is not as good as
Right. And
now I understand.
Right, it must be a hard thing for her to admit also, because she's basically saying like, I was not wanted.
Yes.
I was cast aside, right?
Exactly. So she is upset about that. Plus, she's hoping that he's going to marry her, but obviously he has a relationship with Lola.
Right.
So it's
who's also married.
Yeah, she's also married. So there's no future there.
Yeah.
So she's really struggling with all these issues, right? Where would you like to start? What would be good? You want to go back all the way back to Quel Invida?
Sure.
So don't get too soft there.
Okay.
If you look at the orchestra, there are accents in the. Plus, you're kind of in the lower part of your voice, so I wouldn't get too soft there.
Okay. Do you think a switch to chest voice might be appropriate in that last
chest
spot?
mix, maybe chest voice. You have to now. The other thing is it's going to depend on the conductor.
Okay.
That you work with, because some people don't really like the chest voice there. Some people like it. I mean, it's verismo, so I wouldn't. I would say yes to chest voice there, but again, tastes different from conductor to conductor.
Yeah,
so
and also because it's a repeat of the phrase. I'm thinking, if the first one's sort of quote unquote beautiful, then maybe the second one can be a little bit.
Yes, and there's retenuta on me la rapito, so that you can stretch. You kind of did stretch it, so the orchestra is going to just hold the chord there.
Yeah, I feel like I rushed you a little bit on the second Arse di Gelosia. I almost felt like it needed more time.
There is a infantanda and stringendo side there, so the tempo does move there a little bit, and that corresponds to her excitement, her state of mind. So yes, it's possible. I wouldn't say move too much, but some movement would be good in that measure.
Okay.
Right?
And then the first Me la rapito is when we start. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at the orchestra has these big accents of D. So you can actually start stretching out a little bit there and take time before you go up.
Okay.
In the G,
Okay.
Right? And there's a crescendo there.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to do from first? Arse di gelosia. How about measure before?
Sorry.
That's okay. So let's do it again.
Sure.
Yeah, don't disappear. And rapito. And the rapito, it's not rapita.
Rapita. Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I would hold that quarter note and rapito
Okay.
into the downbeat. I like the chest. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it, and you got out of it, you know, in the next measure. So as long as you don't carry it too high.
Yeah. It's a little tricky to go back up to the B, but I
Yeah.
think it kind of adds to the, what we was. I feel that sometimes. So we just discussed this, but like she's almost like not wanted by anybody.
No. No.
And so
Yeah.
it's the desperation of the chest voice is kind of.
Yeah, and that's going to be. We'll discuss it at the end of the aria when she says "Io son danata." I'm cursed because she's actually spoiled for anyone else. She's not a virgin anymore. No one's going to marry her, so that's the reason she wants to marry Turidu, because that's her last chance.
Right.
And if that doesn't happen, she's ostracized.
Yeah.
She's living in a society in Sicily that's very conservative. They still have, at the opera, Turidu and Alfie are going to have a duel where Alfie is going to kill Turidu because he had an affair with his wife. So they're still working on this kind of medieval.
Yeah. The
yes.
rustic. Yeah.
Well, it's rustic chivalry,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's the name of the opera. So do you want to go on? Oh, I want to try this melarapito. So that So where would you like to start? Do you want to go from melarapito?
Yeah,
So you go and. Yes. So can this be different color and not gentler? Not necessarily too soft.
Okay.
Also, you can hold the priba a little bit longer. It's like a tenuto sign above the F sharp. So just stretch it a little bit. What I'm trying to say.
I'm seeing that. I mean, I guess this is a characteristic of Rismo where the string line kind of takes over from the vocalist and then it comes back because I'm
dialogue.
yeah.
So you just kind of the strings start the melody and then you join them at some point. So there's a lot of these things where that happens. Right. So how about 3 measures before you come in priva? So Lola e Turidu Samano. So this is the first time you say that they're actually in love. This I don't know if you ever confess this to yourself or said it out loud ever. So this is the first time you're actually acknowledging that there is something going on there. You knew this, you suspected this, but I don't think you were afraid to say.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that you're done.
Yeah.
With Turidu,
well,
right?
it's the way she says it's like more than an affair, right? So there's no hope for
Santuzza.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So also, once you start that Lola e Turidu Samano, Lola e Turidu, there is the animato and crescendo that leads into that A. Io piango, and then 3 times you have io piango that needs to be differentiated? How do you
Okay.
say which one is the more intense?
I feel like it's the G with the fermata, and then
Yeah, could be.
maybe
So you
yeah.
just you just have to be specific
Okay.
in which one
Okay.
you wanna to be more intense.
Right, because there's three
Every
of them.
time, yeah, exactly. Every time you repeat something, that needs to have different feeling, different
Yeah.
intensity. You don't repeat things just because you feel repeating.
Yeah.
There has to be something behind it, right?
It's tricky in this music too because it's not that the the melody doesn't necessarily change. It's the same thing. You have to find sort of a dramatic
Yes.
difference.
Exactly.
There's no ornament or something to help you.
Yeah, and so how do you feel about this Lola e Turiddu Samano? I mean, obviously you're upset. Obviously
Right.
you want
I'm
to
crying.
probably,
Yeah.
scratch your eyes out and his eyes.
Right.
So it's like that this is actually seals your fate.
Right. Right.
That if this is true, and it is, this, there's no hope for you. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
Where can you go?
Right.
And because you live in a small Sicilian village, that it's not going to take likely on someone like you.
Right.
It doesn't matter that there's a turiddu involved. It's always a
The woman
that,
who
that gets shortchanged.
Yeah.
Basically. So.
And I wonder too, and we were just talking about this, but maybe the first piango can be sort of desperate, the second can be sort of like sadness, and then the third one is just like hopelessness, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's like what?
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't seem like Mama Lucia is helping her much.
No, she's not. She doesn't know. I think because she's so shocked now that she heard all this what's happening, that she doesn't know what to do, and because so after you sing your piango, she says miseri noi, oh poor us, miserable us. What are we gonna do now on this sacred day, right? It's Easter Sunday, so she's like, oh my God, this is not what I was thinking that I'll be doing.
The
today.
worst timing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So can we go from maybe first Lola Turi Tridu Tamano?
Lola e Turiddu Samano, Lola e Turiddu Samano, io Io son
So much
dannata.
dannata has two N's, right? Another thing that I noticed, and I know this, it's a high note on A, so you were modifying the vowel on io. It was maybe too much modified because I didn't understand the word.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if that's what you need to do to get the sound and the color, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just I would like personally more E.
Okay.
And I know it's hard on E and O.
Yeah, you just want to go to the O because it's easier.
Yes, exactly. Io son danna, so that N it has to be down. So dannata is a very strong word.
Yeah.
I'm damned. I'm when Italians use like dannata, Dio, all these maladetta, all these strong words, they don't use it lightly. They really mean very drastic things.
Okay.
So you have to color it in a way that it's going to describe what the word means.
Okay.
Even if someone doesn't understand what the word means, you need to bring it to the audience. Okay, so can we maybe go, I don't know, measure before io son dannata?
Sure.
Io son dannata.
Io son
Io.
dannata.
So make sure that it doesn't turn to yo.
Yeah.
Io. So the E is a little bit longer. Oh yeah. So measure before. So you're coming too early. Lucia has Dirmi in questo santo giorno.
Okay,
So yes,
okay.
right, and she's going to take a little bit more time because this is an important sentence saying, what are we going to do on this sacred day, right?
Right.
So you don't want to come on top of her line, right? Plus, if you look at the orchestras hold the chord, so the conductor can wait for you until you get to. Okay? So let's do it again. And I'm going to sing the Mamma Lucia's line. Dirmi in questo santo giorno.
Io son dannata. Io son
Okay,
dannata.
I like the portamento, I like the chest. I wouldn't start the second Io sonata too soft.
Okay.
Just because if you first of all, the orchestra, there's a lot of sound before, so you don't want to do it so soft that the ears cannot adjust to the difference between
Right.
the big sound of the orchestra and then suddenly you come in with
Right.
tiny. That's possible sometimes, but not in this. I don't think in this
In
case
this repertoire, yeah.
that you can do that.
Well, and it's a quite a part of the voice too.
Yes,
Naturally.
exactly. So you wanna really use your resonance, use your projector there. Okay. So should we do just that last Io Sonata?
Sure.
So you just sang your big.
Io son dannata.
You can even Io son dannata. So hold the half note for 2 beats.
A little
you can
longer,
stretch
yeah.
it a little bit long because again, there's nothing happening in the orchestra. Just holding the chord, right? And give me 2 ends of dannata.
Sure.
Right? So let's do it one more time.
Io son